Hello.
Hello?
And look, this time around we actually have
What's up, bro?
Never mind.
Hey, it's the What's Up Bro podcast. We talk movies, sports, TV shows, pop culture, and it's funny, motherfuckers. With Nery signs. I'm like, what? How can this... They have Photoshop. Photoshop exists when this artist rendition was done. How the fuck is this not cooler looking than a sketch that looks like it was done by a hillbilly off the side of the road? What the fuck are we talking? Why is this a thing?
Welcome to the party, pal.
Steph, Uni Mayor Sr.
Yeah, I don't have to look for you.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah!
And Mike Markadal.
I'm just glad I like vanilla, boring sex like this. I'm glad that the sex I enjoy won't get me killed.
That's how winning is done.
Hey, I'm Dave Chappelle, and this is What's Up, Bro.
All right, and we're recording live, whichever one you're doing. Welcome to the What's Up Bro podcast. I am your host, Nery Signs. With me, as usual, is Mike Throat Punch Markadal.
Wearing a kick flick. Oh, you can't see it. Wearing a kick flick shirt.
Oh, that was freaky.
That he has a hole. Mike has a hole in his body in the shape of the Kickflix
In the shape
logo.
of the Kickflix logo.
And Steph. Uni Mayor Senior.
I don't even know if it's the lag or if it's.
Well, I'm not on a ship today, and I've gotten rid of Xfinity, so I gotta hope it's not the lag.
Are you on the right mic?
I don't know, Michael.
I always am conscious of that.
Yeah, conscious is a word that could be used. That's a word that could be used.
I can be two things.
Let's see here.
I contain multitudes.
I can. Yes.
I mean, I think so. It says here.
It is one of my favorite things.
I just want to make sure. You're low a little bit, so I just want to make sure.
I am low. Am I? Let's see.
I love
here.
when we.
Is this better? Is this
We'll
better?
do it live. He just said.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Is it better?
Yeah, sure.
All right, sure. I mean, that doesn't sound convincing. I'm not convinced. So welcome. First of all, I want to say that I'm starting a new podcast, right? Don't worry. It's going to be under the WuBro feed. It's going to be under the WuBro feed. I know Stephanie gave me the exact reaction. You gave me the visual cue reaction to what my wife verbally said. It's like,
an audible eye roll.
Right, yeah, an audible. Yeah, my wife gave me the audible eye roll. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was the subtle look of bitch.
Bitch, how many? But it's gonna be under the WuBro. It's gonna be under the WuBro feed. So sometimes you'll just get WuBro episodes, and sometimes you'll get episodes of this new podcast, which is a straight up movie review podcast. I figured 11 years later, I just might as well do a flat out movie review podcast.
Sweet.
And I went to Fiverr to get a logo, right? Because I just need a quick and easy logo. And the logo was fine. Like everybody, I messaged Mike and Jeff, and they had zero input. Zero. Mike's input was, oh, I like the vibe. That's it. That was it. Jeff gave me the emoji thumbs up. Like not even the emoji thumbs up. It was the Facebook Messenger like thumbs up. Like that was like took no effort whatsoever.
What kind of curated
afterthought
message
thumbs up.
do you want? What kind
Well,
of
I would want something
You
like, oh,
sent
I
us-
don't like this color. I would prefer this color. Oh, that's a cool idea, but what about
He
if
wants
they add
actual critiques.
actual like, hey, or even if you do like it, like, oh man, that's really good. I like that. And give some kind of like verbal, like some kind of other explanation,
Can we
and
give
to be
a little
fair,
more backstory though?
wait. To be fair, I have gotten
I also
that.
feel left out.
To be honest, I have got. It's because you don't watch movies. I mean, what's the point? I mean, if we're talking about Bluey,
I
if
went
we're gonna,
to film school.
if-
I worked in TV and film.
but that's nothing to do with. That was 10 years ago. It's time to let that shit go.
Oh, you couldn't stick that landing. You had to soften it with the giggles at the end because even you felt it. I was like, ooh.
No. I believe I
No,
stuck
for
it.
me
It's still funny.
For me, it was just like, oh, passage of time. Oh, mortality.
So in the past, with anything else that I've done creatively, as far as logos and design, Jeff specifically has been very like vocal about like, I like this, I would prefer that, I don't like that. Like he's very honest, and again, that's kind of what I'm looking for. I don't need a yes man. I'm not. I need like I would prefer somebody being like, even if they did like it, be like, oh, I like when they did this. I like what do you like about it specifically, or what do you not like about it specifically? None of these guys gave me shit. All right. So Mike gave me the I like the feel of it. So I went to my brother, who is a professional artist, graphic designer. He's the one that designed my he's the one that designed pretty much everything, but he's the one that designed my album cover, and so I sent him the thing and I go, hey, what do you think? And then he gave me the notes. He's like, oh look, I'm not really a big fan of the colors, and kind of there's a sun in the background, and there's nothing that says movie review here. There's no movie review, there's no like film strip, or there's nothing here that says movie review. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Notes that I also, okay, thank you. Okay, blah, blah, blah. And I was kind of thinking those kind of notes, but I don't want to give anybody the notes that I'm thinking, because I want to get their honest opinion.
Oh, by the way, when I said I felt left out, it wasn't like from the podcast. It was from being able to critique something.
Oh,
I want my opinion heard about whatever.
That is actually fair. That is actually fair. That is because you are actually pretty good at giving your opinions. So then my brother gives me these notes. I then take these notes back to Fiverr and be like, these are the notes that I have, right? Good notes, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, got it, we're on it. So then they send me something back. And then I'm like, show my brother. And my brother's like, And then he literally, within a time span of like, I don't know, an hour or two, like it's overnight, but I know him. And so he comes back with like 6 different fucking designs, all of which are superiorly better than the fucking Fiverr thing. And again, my wife was like, why didn't you just ask him to begin with? I go, because if I would have flat out asked him for a logo, I would be waiting for fucking 6 months.
Right.
If I would have flat out asked him for a logo. So I had to do hey, what do you think about this fucking kindergarten finger painting bullshit? And then he would have been like, I mean, if that's what you want to go for.
$5
right.
to expedite your brother's
right. So then my brother sends me a fucking, all these logos, whatever. I start going back and forth with these. Now they have opinions. This is my favorite quote is, I like option A because it's like the Fiverr one, except good.
Yeah. Like I could see the connection there. It's just that your brother saw that and was like, what the fuck? And then he made it good.
My brother saw that and it was like, it's adorable when kindergartners try to finger paint. But let me show you what an actual portrait of a turkey looks like, instead of holding your hand up to a piece of cardboard and fucking cutting out a turkey shape with your hand.
Like when a little kid is stirring stuff to help you in the kitchen, and then you're like, okay, and then you get the fuck out of here. Enough of this.
That's adorable.
Good helping.
Buddy. Oh, good. Yeah. Good helping. Good helping.
Good helping. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah. So this is the awkward part now. Is I didn't respond to Fiverr for 2 days, and they were like, well, you have 24 hours now. And then we've had really quick and open communication this whole time. So now my brother does this, and then 2 days go by because I don't know what the fuck to tell Fiverr. I don't know what, like, I don't.
Did you ghost? Do you ghost your designer?
I mean, you have to, like, you should give him a chance to be like, hi, can you incorporate some sort of like film element?
Well, what I did is, because they did that. You guys didn't see that because I didn't send that to you.
Of course not, because your brother did it better.
So then I came back and I was like, hey, so I'm sorry to do this, but my brother drew up a couple of the designs. Can you just, and I send them one of the designs that I liked, that I went with, that my brother did, and said, can you just do this, but give me the final like format, like in the correct sizes and like this. Just
wow.
This.
That I feel is like unintentionally mad insulting. Like you didn't realize.
I felt that I was being insulting.
Communities.
I felt absolutely. I felt that I was being insulting And I apologized profusely in the message. I'm so sorry to do this. I apologize. You did everything right. It wasn't you. It was me. You did everything I asked you for. I did not. You were great
I
and
think you
awesome.
took this person out on you took this person out on a really good date, posted them on your Insta story just so you can make your ex jealous. And she came back.
And then she came back, and then I was like, can you do me a favor? Can you dress like my ex? Because that's actually what I wanted. You did everything I asked you for, but what I really wanted was what my ex had. So if you could just dress up like my ex. Wow. And I was very apologetic and very like, I'm so sorry to do this. If you can't do this, I understand. You could tell me to go kick rocks. I'm like,
that's like going on a Tinder date and asking them to swipe for you. Like, can you find your replacement for me?
Oh my god!
Damn!
I've told you that story that I did that once. I told you that story. Like
maybe you know how many stories you've told me, Nery? You have any idea
but remember,
how many
okay,
stories?
So the audience
over a
might
decade of us talking bullshit at each other.
No, yeah, but this story is I went on a date with a girl, and we went to go. I could tell you the movie. We went to go watch Walk the Line, and I was super broke at this time. I was only doing comedy, so I was like, and this is pre cruise ships, so me doing comedy meant like I'm hosting the Improv this weekend, and I have an extra $350. Like it was not, you know.
Yeah.
So I was broke. or whatever. But this girl was really dumb. This is the girl that worked at Starbucks that she didn't remember she worked at Starbucks. You remember that story?
Oh no.
She didn't.
I don't remember this.
She didn't. Okay, so I'm making a long story really short, but she said that she had never been to Starbucks. She made a thing about it. We were in contact via IM and via text that she hadn't gone to Starbucks. I take her to the movies, and I have to buy 2 hours because the movie doesn't start for another 2 hours, but I don't have money for dinner.
Oh, in the park.
I have to buy. So we're in Dolphin Mall, and it's during the holiday season, and there's a long-ass line at Starbucks, and I'm like, let's go to Starbucks, and her protest is like, well, what if I don't like it? I'm like, don't worry about it. I'll get you something small, and if you don't like it, I'll just take it. I'll drink it. It's not going to go to waste or whatever. And we were in line for Starbucks. In line. She told me multiple times previous to this that she had never been to Starbucks. And it was a point of contention. And we were like, wow, I can't believe you never. Again, this is, I don't know, 13, 14 years ago. So, again, it was still a thing. And I said, and in the line, we're in line at Starbucks. And she goes, oh my God, that's right. I forgot. And I thought, because she had a kid, so I thought something happened with her kid. She forgot to, she left the stove on. I don't know what.
Oh,
she said, I forgot. I used to work at Starbucks. And like, and I was like, wait, what? And I, me, pedantic as fuck. I cannot let this go. And I was like, what do you mean? You talked about this. You said this a lot. Like you said, we talked about this.
You
like
said spider. You said spider.
No, I thought you said spider. I thought you said you're okay. And
Yeah.
it was this whole fucking thing. Wow. And then she was like, no, but it was only for like a month. And I remember now when I saw the hat from the employees or whatever, because I remember I have that hat.
Must have been a long time ago.
No, it was like 4 years prior. And I was like, so then that happened.
Doofa.
And then this is and then
she wasn't traumatized enough.
So this ties into what we were previously talking about. And again, something that I'm not proud of, but I very cowardly decided at that moment that I'm not interested in this girl and this woman anymore. Like I'm just done. But instead of having a conversation, instead of having the mature conversation and saying, I'm sorry, this is not going to work out. I don't feel that this is going to work out. I found it appropriate, which is not appropriate, to then sabotage the date and be like, I'm going to make myself
the bad guy.
Yeah, the bad guy, right? And
say goodnight to the bad guy.
Right. And then the thing that I said that I still regret, but it's still funny, but it's in an awful way, is
the thing I regret, but it's still funny. So I don't really I don't really regret this.
No, I absolutely regret it because as a grown up, I will look back and I will go back to that Nery and be like, dude, you can't do that. Man the fuck up. I will literally say that. But it still doesn't take away the fact that it's funny. I said, what do you look for in a guy in a relationship? And she told me, and then she asked me the same question because I knew she would, because that's how dates work. And then I said, and
conversation, yes.
And then I gave her all the qualities that I look for in a woman, and then I followed that up with basically everything that my ex had. That's what I'm looking for.
Ooh.
I know. I know, not good.
Wow.
Interesting.
You decided to grab a red flag off the wall and be like,
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Like
Had
you
it on.
very overtly were like,
overtly, yeah.
I don't
Look
want
at
to
this.
be here.
I don't want to be here, but I already purchased the tickets, and it's a kind of a movie that I do want to watch.
Was
God
it
damn.
before the movie or
It
after?
was
the movie?
before the movie. It was before the
Of
movie.
course, it was before the movie because he didn't know how to properly dismount from
Yeah,
this situation.
I didn't know after she said I used to work. That's right. I forgot I used to work at a Starbucks. I was like mentally checked out. I was like, I'm fucking done. I can't.
I
This
know,
is
but
not
all
a
I'm
thing.
thinking, all
And
I'm
again,
thinking in
I'm
my
not
head is that
defending this
girl
behavior,
doesn't
by the way.
really like when she thinks of Walk the Line. She can't even clearly remember the movie. She just remembers that weird thing that guy said that she just sat there in the theater and the entire time was like, what?
I don't think she. Well, first of all, I sincerely doubt that she did that because we ended up hooking up afterwards. So I don't think that she did that.
That's gonna confuse. Like that's gonna
She
confuse
enjoyed the
a
movie.
lot
By the
of
way, she enjoyed
people.
the movie more so than I did. She was like, I love the movie, and I was like, I didn't really like it.
So
What
we
do you
gonna
think she's just
fuck or what?
overcompensating? She's just overcompensating to be like, I can get rid of those thoughts for you.
Yeah.
She's literally.
This is the same girl who, by the way, I tried to ghost for 2 weeks. I did ghost for 2 weeks, and then she kept on texting and kept on IMing and kept on IMing, and then finally when I got back to her, she's like, "Hey, where you been? Blah blah whatever." I
this
said,
poor
"I'm
girl.
sorry. I'm just I'm gonna be completely honest with you," which I wasn't, but I said I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I said I'm broke. I don't have any money, and I felt bad because I know you wanted to go out again, and I don't know how to tell you I don't have money. She's like, "Don't worry about it. Why don't you just come over to my house and we go watch a movie?" This is before Netflix and chill, and I was like, "Fine, I will do that." And then
Interesting.
while at her house, I took Goodfellas because she's like, you could bring Goodfellas because you're always talking about it, and I've never seen it. And then I said, "Are you sure you've never seen it? Is this gonna be one of those things where, where you say you haven't seen it and then you start?"
Ow,
saying,
Pat! I was a producer on this movie. I'm sorry. Yes, that's right.
That's
No,
right.
look, there's my name in the credits. Oh my god, I can't believe.
forgot.
De
Niro's
shit, that's
my
right.
uncle. De Niro's
I'm
my
Ray
uncle.
Liotta. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. Oh yes, right. Like, what could be the egregious version of that? Like, oh, I forgot.
I
What
directed the
sorry.
movie. I directed the
Oh,
movie.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Nothing's gonna
that's
top.
right.
I'm Ray Liotta.
I'm really. I forgot.
That's right. What's the worst thing you've that's right to in your life?
I mean, after I forgot that I used to work at the place that I've told you repeatedly I've never been to, like, there's nothing to fucking top that. There's like,
no,
how do you?
That was your.
No,
it.
I'm saying I can't. I've done nothing in comparison to that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like, what?
Take a beat to
Oh,
that.
that's right. I forgot I did eat the bagel. Like, I don't know what else there is I could forget that I actually did that would top that bullshit. So then, let me finish a real quick story. I take the movie. We start watching the movie, and then but before things get hot and heavy, she goes, "Oh my God, look, I just got my Christmas tree today. It's the first Christmas tree I've gotten in like 5 years. It's the most beautiful tree I've ever had in my life. What do you think about it?" And then I remember, because I had told her I used to sell Christmas trees as a kid when I was 15.
If you don't say that it's a beautiful, oh my God, I love
thought it
it.
was. I thought it was. I was like, "Oh, it looks nice." And then I only had one question. Kind of raised my hand. I go, "Just out of curiosity, how come it's flat at the top? How come it's flat?" And her response was, "Because my best friend gave me the tree and we had to trim it because if not, it wouldn't have fit in the living room because she has a small apartment." And thank you, Stephanie. That's the And then so that's what I did. And then she was like,
get it.
and then she goes, "What?" And I go, "No, but why didn't you trim it from the bottom?" And her reaction was the same as the fucking Starbucks epiphany. She goes, "That's so true. Oh my God, I should have done that." And then 5 minutes later, she goes, "Oh my God, you're gonna think I'm so dumb because of that." And I was like, "No, because of that. It's not
Because
no, it's not because of that. That ship has sailed. That ship has been fucking. It's already sending me a postcard at this point. It's really.
That's all you tell someone. I've lost all the respect I had for you, which was none.
None, right? And
God, that's. Well, I mean that there is when you think about the average person, right? Double-digit IQs. The average person, and then there's a whole group of people that are below average, right?
Yeah.
Like, not everyone is a mensicant. Like, there's just like a bunch of dumb people walking around, and like, it's nobody's like. I'm not judging that. I'm just saying, like, the reason where there are warning labels out there. I'm sure there are people who are just innocently dumb that are living their best life. You know, they're like chopping trees off at the top, being Ray Liotta.
That lawnmower fucking warning on the like, don't lift it up and fucking cut trees with it, like, because you cut your fingers
dick
off.
in that. Yeah,
don't quit. Like, it's like, who would fucking do that? And it's like this person right here.
This guy,
there's a person right here that would do that.
Don't eat these silica packets. That's my favorite one, because like I wouldn't.
I mean, that one I understand. I can understand.
Again, I don't know if I would have gotten the idea to eat them if they had told me not to. But I'm like, they do kind of look like they could be Pop Rocks, right? Like,
yeah,
they could be,
they could be Pop Rocks, and then they look the same as sugar packets now. I mean, it's nothing. But so that I don't even know how did we get here? We talked about
the movie, the guy, letting the guy down.
Fiverr, so letting the Fiverr designer being like that was my.
I'm like a lifeguard.
That was this version of, like, I was like, yeah, I just want it to be done like my brother does it. So if you could just do that.
I know this person who's like way better than you.
Yeah.
Did you pay him?
Oh, I paid up front.
Then why did you have to do it? Just like, no, here.
I didn't have to do anything. I was very conflicted. And the nice part of me wanted to be like, and I've used them before. They were the ones that created the seasons, and I've used them before.
Sure.
And so I wanted to be.
You just burned a bridge of someone that you've had repeat business with?
I guess, but maybe. But money talks. You know what I mean? I don't know. And then I was very conflicted.
Did they do it?
There was a part of me. I don't know. They did reply like 10 minutes before the podcast started, but I was in the middle of setting up the podcast.
Oh my
God. So
my
whole thing.
It's fair enough. If they did it, then
and I gave them an out. I gave them an out. I said, if you don't want to do it, I understand. I said, if you don't want to do it, I completely understand. I don't expect. But my conflict, my inner conflict was, do I just let this go? Or do I bring it up because I'm trying to get my money's worth, and I did pay you for something, so can I just get this done?
Man, sometimes you just got to take that L, bro. You got to take that loss. You took that hit. You're not going to get that finished product. Or you just tell them, great, can we add the cinematic element? Something about movies. And that's it.
They said, let me see if I could do that. And then that was it. That was the last reply.
I mean, like, Look, when I've worked in web design, and when the grunts have to do grunt work, it's like, they have to design like 15,000 icons for some website that they have that every page needs an. They're like, they hate it, but they do it, and some of them do like a great job, and they look awesome. But that's the kind of shit where, like, that person is begrudgingly helping you. That person is a victim of the gig economy.
So let me ask you a question. And Steph, you would be more prepared. You would be better prepared because you being of the three of us, I would arguably say you are the true artist of the three of us. If you were in that situation, again, in that situation where you're working at Fiverr, you're working through Fiverr, blah, 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 whatever, and somebody asked you to do this, is there any chance that you could get that request and be like, oh, thank you for making my life easier, because now all I got to do is make this into a vector and we're fucking done? There's no chance of that. There's not. Okay.
They wouldn't want.
It's someone else's work.
Yeah. They would. It wouldn't.
It's someone else's work. You at least have to. You have to at least change it enough that it's your design. Or like use it as a basis.
Hey, copy my homework, but change it a little so we don't get caught.
Or like, it's just one of those things where, or you would at least, if it's doing it just for a gig, one of the things I would ask is just like, oh, do you have permission from this designer?
Well, that's why I put that it's my brother. That's why I put my brother designed this. Blah blah blah.
I still need the permission. I can need.
Yeah,
I'm like, I still need to hear from this person that it's okay.
Why didn't you take credit for it? You should have been like, well, here's something I whipped up, but I just couldn't bring myself to finish it.
But I don't know how to do a vector. But this is what I drew up in, my iPad. If you could just form this into a vector and then write. I should have said that. I should have just.
You should have done a screen cap of it or something. Lower the resolution on it, and make it look not as good, and be like, I was messing around, and I did this.
By the way, Steph, when I asked you that question, that was your time to be like, it's okay, don't worry about it. You'll find somebody else.
I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Yeah, I know. That was your opportunity. Also, when I said you're arguably the true artist in this group, you didn't even fight it. You didn't even polite. No, you're also an artist.
I kind of want to know where you were going.
You didn't even give me that.
I want to know where you're going.
You didn't even give me the polite. You are also an artist, Nery. Like you were like, I agree with what you're saying.
It's a different thing.
But what am I a performer of?
What the shade?
What am I a performer of? Isn't a performing artist?
The shade.
I mean, true.
Right. The performing arts is different than fine arts.
It is true.
And it's different than
these are also different things.
Right. But when I said, "Hey, Steph, I'm building you up and I'm giving you your flowers,"
you wouldn't go.
When I said, "Hey, I'm giving you your flowers," I'm saying, "Hey, you're arguably the artist in the group." You didn't even fucking bat an eyelash and be like, "No, Nery, don't say that. We're all artists in our own right." You didn't give any.
Do you want me to faux take a compliment?
I wanted you to. I don't know. I guess I was asking for full modesty. I guess is what I was asking for. You were like, mm-hmm. You're like, continue. I agree with everything you're saying. Please go ahead.
I'm just like, if you're building to a bit, I don't know where you're going sometimes. So I'm just like, I'm gonna follow this train and see where it goes.
She's like, yeah, shut up, performing artist. A real artist is about to speak.
You know, you're trying to yes and once.
Shut up, performer. Let me tell you how the fucking real artists feel.
Oh, you're gonna paint me a picture with your words? Get the fuck out of here.
Fuck out of here. Do you know what it takes? Do you know what a true canvas is? Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I thought you were just being kind because let's be real, I haven't shot in a while.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was doing. I was providing.
I was like, all right.
Yeah, I was giving you you see the fullness in it. I was giving you like, hey, yeah, like right. I'm being supportive of my friend who I know hasn't shot anything in a while.
I'm still gonna accept it. I'm still gonna be like, all right. Yeah. If you want to make me feel better about myself, I'll let you.
You're like, this is true. This is true. All you are is a monkey with a symbol. Yeah, I guess.
No, but to be honest, okay, but switching it onto the artist thing, you wouldn't accept it if someone came to you like, oh, these are some jokes we already wrote up. I just need you to go on stage and perform it. You wouldn't take credit for someone else's jokes.
Ooh, I know where you're going with. I know where you're going, but that actually is a thing.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to go with.
Not as like I'm writing it for you and it's for your set. Like I'm not saying it's a proprietary thing. Like, no, this is for me. I just need you to say the words.
Yeah, I get where you're going with it. I get where you're trying to go with it, but I guess a different example. I don't know what example would be for a performing artist because that's what we do. Like, there's a lot of this has been well documented. Kevin Hart has writers, and for the last like 6
Yes, but I think having writers and hiring that writer is still different than like
it's just different
credit for someone else's writing without.
But it's just different for performing artists than like what Mike said. It's different for performing artists than it is for fine arts. It's a very different.
Yeah, because fine art's real and performance arts is bullshit.
Yeah, it's bullshit. It's just
it's not a real art.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm over here being the true artist, the medical arts.
Right.
The practicing the art,
the life-giving arts.
Yeah,
I'm trying to figure out how to put you guys.
Sometimes I just get creative with it and let them die. Just to show them the truth of what artistic expression can be.
Mike is like, they're like, Mike, why didn't he tell us he was about to die? He's like, well, I looked at his chart, and it felt as if he had more time. It felt as if those numbers, they
didn't feel right.
They looked askew. They looked askew.
Yeah, if I'm going to express myself truly, that has to delve into the dark sometimes, and people die. And look, that death will be
and
the period at the end of my sentence of my artistic expression for the day. Be happy that it wasn't an exclamation point.
Also, death is also beautiful.
Death is
looked upon from the right lens.
From the right, yeah. Chiquita's watching a bunch of horror things now because that's everything that's going on. And I'm just convinced that horror movies now is just loud noises. Have you noticed that? Like everything is just like a boing, and then you're supposed to jump. But the thing on screen isn't inherently scary or anything. Like, it's
Well,
just
that's what I felt. I don't watch many horror movies. But when I okay, but when I watched The Grudge, that was the loudest in mic
yeah,
cough
like you
I've ever
coughed into the
It was
microphone.
you
The
coughed
mic is
in.
literally on my
I know,
face.
but you coughed into the mic and it was all mucusy. Like it wasn't even like a dry cough. It was like a, and I was like, okay, right,
It's what we call in the medical arts a productive cough.
right.
It's what we call ew.
Yeah, to the audio listener, enjoy your meal. Enjoy. We hope you're enjoying. We hope you're enjoying your breakfast or lunch at this time. It'd be great. Yeah. Anyways, I noticed that with the movie The Grudge, where it was like, I mean, like weird noises, and then it cut to black, and people were like, oh my god! And it's like, wait, but they're not actually showing us anything.
Yeah, like
it's
nothing.
not.
What?
No, but I liked how they did it with The Grudge, though.
I'm not saying I
it was
didn't
more
like what they're doing.
creepy. I like the creep, kind of like when the sound like kind of creeps on you.
Well, that's different than just it being quiet and then the loud
Just jump
noise
scare.
makes you jump. Like not the scare, because I've seen. Well, I can't remember what movie it was. I think it was Signs. I think it was that time when they showed the alien for the first time in Signs in that video where there's
the
nothing.
only time.
Right. Yeah, except at the end with the weird clicking, whatever. But it's genuinely like just like this weird handheld footage, and then this thing just walks across the street, and everyone in the theater was just like, ah, because that was like genuinely scary. There wasn't like really like a loud, because that's the thing about the ear is the fastest way into your brain, like evolutionarily, like that's the shortest, the nerves. The reaction time is the shortest, so you'll react to a loud noise before you react to anything else. So that's what they put in the movies, like a big bang.
You know, I said this to Vanessa, to my wife, like I don't know, an hour ago, and I kind of said this, and you kind of do you hear things further than you can see things? Yes, right. That's a thing.
What do you?
We were talking about my daughter no longer being at the doorway. And I was still talking to her, and my wife was like, "You're talking to nobody. She's not there anymore." I'm like, "Because she can still hear me."
Oh, I mean, you don't have to be
right.
So
you don't. I'm like, you can still hear me. And then she's like, but she's not there. She walked away from me. I'm like, yeah, but I know that because she can still hear me. So I'm saying this, and then I said the phrase, "You could hearing goes further than sight." And then I was like, I don't know if that's accurate, but it feels accurate.
I don't know. How firmly did you say it? You believed it, and then afterwards you're like,
"Oh no!" Immediately I was like, I actually said it like kind of like back.
I think light travels farther.
Well, I mean, it all depends on like again. I think what you're talking about is
okay.
Like,
this is not an expert podcast, by the way.
No, but I get what you're saying. I think it's not about light.
No.
It's
what we say here is fine.
Yeah.
What we say here is final. This is actually going. This is actually being dictated into the next edition science books for next semester. So.
That's
just
right.
general science books, all of them.
Humanity. I forgot. That's right.
Wait, hold on. Let me get Joe Rogan on the phone, and then we just make sure we clarify and get everything right. We have on the line. We have Aaron Rodgers, professional quarterback and COVID specialist.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, Ron, you're on the air.
Hey, Ron,
what?
You're on the air.
What's that?
I wonder, like, so when you're talking about like that idea of like seeing, like, you can hear around corners. You know what I mean? Like you can hear noises around corner because it all vibrates, but you can't.
Well, you could shoot a bullet around a corner. I saw a movie once where you could shoot. I saw this documentary where you could shoot bullets around a corner.
And all,
you just whip it. You just whip it.
Oh, which girl did you lie to on that date? How many? Which one did you lie to in that one when you went to see Wanted?
I told this girl that I didn't feel good because she was bigger than her profile picture. So then no, that was Michael.
That's not what I told her.
That's what you told her.
Michael.
This is a long story. I've apologized plenty. I absolutely apologize for it all stuff. But it's on
WuBro.
The only thing that Nery
I remember the story actually.
The bullet points. The bullet points.
Neri knows the bullet. Neri likes to reference the bullet points a lot.
Right. And the bullet was the bullet from Mario. That big fat bullet. That's the bullet from Mario. Because Mike was
that's
so
not
mean
even. That's
her.
not me. That's not me.
Mike, here's my favorite part about that whole thing, because you were totally bullshitting her to be nice to her. You were, at least in your mind, you thought you would be nice to her. But my favorite part,
I never thought I was being nice to her. I just wanted to get away. I want to get away doing the least amount of damage, and it did way more damage.
Way more damage. And
I knew I wasn't being nice.
But my favorite part was that she had a blog that Mike knew about, and then Mike was mentioned in the blog and got totally fucking called out and
Destroyed.
blasted
Yeah.
for destroyed on the blog.
Yeah.
And then I printed it. It's framed on my fucking office. It's over there.
Mhm.
It's framed up, and it's.
I know how to take an L. I know how to do it with grace. But that's an old. That's
was that her name? Was that her name? Grace. Was that her name?
That's a WuBro classic though. That's that's a WuBro old head.
That's actually my old school pick for the week. Is the
WuBro episode 17 where
the WuBro ass whooping that Mike got.
Our old school pick of the week can just go back to just the times we remembered each other failed at something colossally. You fucked up with this.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Remember that time I told this girl that I wanted her to be like my ex.
Old school pick of the week.
Old school pick of the week. That time Nery was a complete asshole.
Actually,
number one on the board.
I was just clearing out my phone of stuff, and I went through my phone, and I found the video of the audio of the episode where it was like a former WuBro person or former Geek Bro person said something dumb, and I was like,
what the
fuck are you talking about?
What the fuck are you talking about? Right, I remember that.
I remember that. I had that like somewhere in my Google Photos. I was clearing shit out. I was like, I listened to it again, and I was like, yeah, what the fuck was he talking about?
Yeah. No, we stand by that. I remember that conversation fully. Leave it to Mike to be fully direct with a person, unless it's a woman that he's on a date with. Other than that,
those are the rules.
Really direct.
It seems like a connecting factor between the both of you, though.
Actually,
again, I would say, and this is in no way an excuse, or this is no way a reason, but putting things into perspective contextually, I was a stupid young kid. I was like fucking 19, 20 years old. I was stupid and young. I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think I was 22. I was 22. I'll tell you exactly. I was 22 because it was a year after me doing stand-up, me starting stand-up. So I was like 22, maybe 23, if I want to say 23. Yeah. But we can find out the age. Find out when Walk the Line came out, because it was opening weekend for Walk the Line.
That is true. We literally could nail it down. Yeah. To be fair, like, you do dumb shit, especially when you're dating, because you
try to navigate. You're trying to navigate in this whole thing, and you think this is the first time it's ever happened.
Yeah, like, you forget you work at Starbucks.
Yeah. How do you tell somebody you're not interested while you're on the date? That never happened to me.
I did that one time. I got yelled at.
Like, personally, it's the Christmas tree over the Starbucks thing for me.
Really?
That's
what it is. Come on, man. If you were a pothead, maybe you forget you worked at Starbucks. But come on, dude. And
how do you forget you worked somewhere?
But how do you forget you worked somewhere after you made it a point multiple times? I want to say easily, like conservatively, 5 separate conversations leading up to this, in the month leading up to this. We made it a point of like conversation. Like, I made jokes about it. You never been to Starbucks. Like, it was like this cutesy little, like, where, kind of like banter. Flirtatious, like banter. Yeah. And it's like, and never did you go, oh, that's right, I fucking work. And then even if you realized it, just shut the fuck up and stay quiet. Like,
I'm saying, like, the Christmas tree is still like the nail on the coffin. Like, to me, I'm just like, the Starbucks. Forgetting you work at Starbucks is bad, but to me, the Christmas tree thing was just like, oh, you lack.
You want to know how bad? You want to know how bad the nail on the coffin was? I forgot my copy of Goodfellas at her house, and I never asked for it. I was like, just keep it. I'll buy another one. That's how, and I fucking love. I mean, I literally have the poster of that movie framed in my living room to this day, and I love that movie so much. And when I left it at our house, I'm like, oh fuck, and I'm broke, mind you. This is like, I'm so broke I can't afford a date, and I'm like, you know what? I'll get another copy at some point.
Wow, like, it's fine. Yeah. That is an interesting thing. Like, on a date, when you've mentally abandoned that you were trying, and that happened to me one time on a date where I asked a girl like what her hobbies were, and she talked about the Kardashians for 45 minutes, and I was just like,
I think you remember you telling me this.
Yeah.
Show too. She was super hot.
And it was like one of those things where like every word was chipping away at how attractive she was. Like, I was just like, oh, this is happening, and like I realized it in real time.
In real time, yes.
Like, I was watching my my brain beat
Attraction
my
just like
penis.
melts away.
Yeah.
I was watching my her. She was physically changing before my eyes. Like I
So-
was literally like,
The metaphor that I was using,
I've
the
gone through
metaphor,
that too.
the metaphor that I was using, especially at the Christmas tree topper, because we're getting hot and heavy. But the metaphor that popped into my head in real time was Jerry Seinfeld's "My brain and penis are playing a chess game."
yeah.
Like I was literally like, I don't know, and then like usually the brain would have no fucking chance. Like the penis is gonna win every time, but this was so
Or they
bad.
were working together as a team.
Right, but this time
They both noped out of it.
Yeah, they were
Just
like, my
like,
penis was
forget
like, I can't do this. I can no longer. I can no
I'm
longer. Yeah.
I'm imagining you like in that episode of Friends where Ross goes over to that girl's apartment that's trashy, and while they're making out, he's like folding socks or
Folding
something.
socks, yeah.
And you're just like making out and staring at the roof and the ceiling, just kind of like, what the fuck were you
Right.
thinking?
And I'll go even further, and this might be too much of information. I did not perform well at all, because mentally I was not fucking there. And this was again when I'm 23, 24 years old.
Yeah.
So this was literally the very first time that functionally it wasn't happening, because 24,
You can
that's
psych
like
yourself out.
prime. Yeah, 24, you're like fucking, as a dude, 24-year-old male, I was like, ready to go at the drop of a fucking hat.
It
But
is what
this
it
was
is.
the first time. This is the first time that I was just like, no, man. My penis was like, bro, this ain't happening. And it was like it was just not working. And I told this story to Missy a couple years ago, and I said, if that girl could rightfully, like, if I ever become like Missy asked me, like, do you think if you ever become famous, that girl's ever gonna? I'm like, if she ever remembers me, that girl could rightfully be like, oh, Nery, he was an awful late, and she would be 1,000% right.
Yeah.
What she wouldn't understand is that the reason why I was an awful late is because of the fucking Christmas tree and Starbucks. Like, it doesn't.
The mental game. I don't think people realize. I don't think women acknowledge that the mental game of maintaining an erection is just as important as the physical.
I think women realize that, but I think that a lot. I'm painting with broad brush here, Stephanie. I think a lot of women think that it's for women only. Oh, guys could fuck whatever, but for women it's more mental. Like, that's a thing that I've heard women say, and they think that the mental arousal is only for women. And it's like, no, but men, we have to be mentally. Now, granted, I do believe that it's easier. I do believe that it's. I think it's believable. Steph, you're like the anomaly. You're the exception, not the rule.
I'm not.
I'm not.
This is one thing where I will refute any compliment in that regard.
But I think
I'm not. There's more people.
I think a lot. I've talked to a lot of women who. I think a lot of women who won't acknowledge. I think a lot of women. I've spoken to women.
I'm also in my 30s.
I will say this.
Like 20 Steph might have thought something different than 30 Steph.
But I think it has to do with the pop culture era of the time of like in the early 2000s. Yolanda, right? KY. That's not the problem.
No, it's not. It's not the fitting in.
It's
just staying in.
All you're doing is getting a rope and trying to stick it into a coin slot that's been filled with KY jelly.
Yeah.
Not
You're making it
help.
more difficult, really. It's like trying to put a sleeping bag back into the thing that the sleeping bag comes in. You're just like trying to shove the edges in.
It's not the hot dog in the bun. It's a bunch of noodles. Just
yeah. You just gotta like give her the shrimpy, curl it up and try and smash it in there and let it work itself out inside. The idea that they're culturally like, do you remember the era of dudes when it was the pickup artist and shit like that?
Yes.
God.
Like that era.
Yes.
There was equally a responsive female or like ladies era of not giving a shit about men's mental health. No, like there's a whole cultural thing about giving a shit about.
Yeah, there's a bit of a backlash.
Yeah, there's a kind of a swing that happens. The same like shitty people that were pickup artist enthusiasts were like also expecting that from men, and that causes like this weird back and forth of people just being assholes at each other. And
rather than just recognizing
was the worst. Like the early 2000s was a nightmare in terms of like.
Bro, I have friends that still try to follow that pickup artist shit like well into like 2015 and shit like that, and I was just like, why are you still trying to neg? Like, why
So,
is this
so
a
here's the
thing?
sad part. Here's the sad part. I will say about so when I learned about negging was well after that show had already gone off the air. But when I
Yeah.
so here's the sad part. I could acknowledge that I think that actually works. I don't think it works on the right kind of women that I would be personally looking for, but I do think that those kind of tips actually work on some women. Now, whether or not you want those kind of women or not, I've seen it work. I've seen my friends literally do it in front of me. And again, when I was in my 20s, I've seen it. They do it, and I'm just like, what? I did it with that chick without even knowing I was doing it. When I ghosted her for 2 weeks, and she kept the fucking amount of calls and the interest went up. The fucking text messages kept like I wasn't doing it on purpose. I was just like, I don't want to date you, but I don't want to.
You're preying on someone's vulnerability, and
I'm not saying it's moral. I'm just saying why you still when you ask a question.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
why you
but
still
it's one of
trying
those
to
where,
you
like,
still negging? Like, yeah, well, it fucking works, and some guys are.
But I
fucking
know it's one of
dirtbags.
those things like, but to me, it's more like, why are you still trying to neg not in the it's if it's efficient or not, but like, why are you the kind of person who's cool with that?
Yeah, that I agree with that. Yeah,
I just
Like,
feel bad for that.
Why are you cool with playing with a person like they're an
Right.
object or something to be won or just a tick on the list?
You already went too far. That you're thinking about it already way more than they have.
Yeah.
But I will say this.
But that's the thing is, I'd rather have people think about other people slightly more.
I feel bad for the girl that was pursuing Nery for a week, and then Nery is so mentally distracted that he can't perform well, and she's like, "All that time for this? I was fucking 5 days of texting, and this is what I get."
There's more like
you know what? But hopefully
weeks,
she raised her standards after that and was like,
She
after
didn't.
this, I'm not
She
going to keep
didn't.
waiting around for people.
She
after that.
She did not.
Did you ever what's the weirdest post like someone from your past, an ex or something that you run into and you genuinely forgot about, and then you see them or see something about them and you're like, oh my god, that's right. And like
I haven't. I haven't had many relationships. I've been in what I felt long-term relationships. Even my shortest relationship was a meaningful one, at least to me at that time. And her and I are still friends or whatever. So I have never run into I don't think I've ever run into an ex aside from there's one ex that is actually a friend of mine still. And she's now friends with Vanessa, with my wife. And so that's not a. But other than that, I don't think I've ever run into an ex be like, oh, hi, this is awkward. I don't have that. I haven't had that moment. But again, it's not like I've dated 1,000 girls. So like,
there's a smaller pool to choose from.
Yeah, to live in Miami, and I know we all say Miami is a small town, but to live in Miami of like 1.5 million, 2 million people, and run into the 3 girls that I've dated, I don't. I mean, the fucking odds.
I think it's different when it's an early school and stuff like that, because like the exes of mine that I have, it's never like running into. It's almost like someone I know, like just randomly brings them up one day, and I'm like, oh, how are they? But like, yeah, I haven't really run it. I mean, especially now, but I didn't really.
They're like in Australia,
run into anyone per se.
I did think
that would be fucking weird.
I did think of an ex of mine recently. She came up because last I heard, and I haven't talked to her like God knows how many years. She lived in Southwest Florida, and then there was a horrible hurricane that came by and destroyed the area. And in my mind, I was like, oh, I wonder if she still lived there. Right. I wonder if she was like that. That's like as much as far as it went. I never, I'm not gonna. And then there was I remember people kept texting me, people who aren't from Florida, so friends and stuff kept texting me, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I live. First of all, I was on a cruise ship. I was in like St. Thomas at the time. I was fucking living great. Yeah. First of all. Second of all, they're like, oh, but you live in Miami. And I was like, yeah, but Miami's they don't know. And I'm like, so Miami's a 3-hour drive. Yeah. Miami got some rain, but whatever. And I did say to a comedian friend of mine, I'm like, oh, actually, he said, oh, do you know anybody who lived in that area? I go, actually, there's a comedy club owner, Captain Brian, that lives in that area. And then I actually, now that you asked me, so I thought of my ex-girlfriend. I go, oh, last I heard, she lived there, but this was like, I don't know, 5-10 years ago last I heard. And then so he goes, oh, are you gonna check up on her? And I was like, and it's not because of, honestly, it's not because of any awkwardness or any like, oh my god, it's because in my mind I thought, and it's all happened in a split second. I thought, if she's going through some shit right now, even best case scenario, you're without power, right? Because this is what happened. You're without power after a hurricane. If she had kids, last I checked, she had kids, and so you're trying to like
What if
the
that
kids
hurricane had anything to say about it? Boom!
oh,
Hurricane.
oh.
Oh, I thought you were gonna make the noise.
Uh, so so in my mind, I thought if she's without power, if she went through a hurricane, she's without power. She has shit that she's dealing with. Best case scenario, that's it. Worst case scenario is she lost a home and God forbid more. Right? I'm like, you don't want to hear from a fucking guy that you haven't talked to in 10 years. Like that's not a thing. Like,
Yeah.
really gonna take the time to like. And again, not that we ended badly, not that it was like not amicable, but at the same time, you got your hands full, right? And now is not the fucking time. I guess that's what I thought. Anyways, I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had
I always ended up hearing from people either when I was getting married or going through a breakup. Like whenever was publicly posted I was going through something. Fortunately, I didn't have a lot of people reach out to me when I got pregnant. Although,
yeah, but you have
like,
safeguards. You have now a lot of friends who are that malware, like that fucking just you know what I mean. So it's like anything is like, hey, so if there was a person that would be like, Steph's having a kid, can you ask her? Nope. There would be like levels of like, you know, protection of spyware to be like, nah, we're good. Like you would never hear about it. You would never hear about it. We did that with Missy. We did that with Missy. We went to a comic book convention, and there was an ex there, and we all saw it, and Missy didn't, and we as a group diverted her to like oh, let's go over here, and like we just kind of like and she was none the wiser, and she still to this day doesn't know, and she still won't know because she doesn't listen to the podcast, so she still won't know.
The only thing of that I had was a girl that had I found out because someone asked me how I feel about it. Like I was still friends or something with her and on Facebook. Like I still go to Facebook. I only go to Facebook for this.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't use it. And then so they messaged, well, how do I feel about it? And I'm like, who? Like this person from a million years ago? Like, okay. And then I looked at it, and what she had done was she even mentioned in the comments that she felt like she couldn't share these pictures of a time in her life that she was happy and blah, blah, blah. And then that she, with creative Photoshop, she had Photoshopped me out of these pictures of like concerts that we had gone to and times, you know, like things that we had done. And it was a time in her life where she was like having so much fun, but she took me out. And I'm like, I wasn't at least a part of the fun. Like you that like you hate it so much, you can't even remember my existence in there. I was like, I didn't care. I just thought it was such an odd thing to still hold on to. Like at this time, like if that popped up on my memories, I would be like, oh right, you know, like yeah, that is what happened in my life. And then it's like, also, but like I wouldn't go through the effort of like, I need to remember to share this with people, and then but crop out and literally like you can see her 2 times. Because she took like one half of this picture and like one half of that picture, so she's like in both.
She could even put a fucking Sasquatch, a Bigfoot in there. I mean, that would be way fucking better.
So much funnier. I would have fucking loved that. That would
that would have been great. I posted like 2 years ago. I posted a picture of my high school prom. I don't remember if it was my high school prom or my then girlfriend's high school prom because she was a year younger than me. So I went to 2 proms back to back. So I don't remember what year this was, but I posted the picture as a TBT, and there was a part of me that initially thought, post a picture with an emoji over her face, not because of anything other than like maybe she does respect her privacy. And the only thing I could think of is put a poop emoji on her face, and then I was like, that's, you know,
no, it's mean.
But again, I wasn't thinking to be mean. I was thinking A, protect her privacy, and B, this would be the funny way of protecting her privacy. But then I ultimately went against that because I was like, it's gonna come off as if I'm still having resentment or some kind of thing.
You're still salty about something.
Still salty about something. And I'm like, no, this is just a funny way of protecting her identity. This is just a funny way of doing something nice. And I'm like, but no, it's not gonna read that way. I realize that.
You can't forget the audience. The audience will interpret it. You have to literally, like for like stupid people, you have to remember that people will take this the worst way first.
Yeah.
And then ease off.
It'll literally be like, this person is poop.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, they were very, but that's not the reason, but they were very much the poop.
Poopy.
Yeah, they were very poopy.
I will say I think we've reached the time in the show where I have to read the things that are in the title of the show so we can contractually
Oh, yes.
like to meet all the contractual obligations of reading the title. Nery does the Carolinas. We gotta talk about that.
I performed in North and South Carolina this past weekend with Angela Johnson. It was theater shows, and they were fantastic. It was
Bye, Mrs. Potts. Rest in peace, Angela Lansbury.
Angela Lansbury.
Murder,
yeah.
She Wrote.
You know what she didn't write? The Resurrection. But I was confused because Vanessa told me like, oh my God, Angela Lansbury just passed away, and I was like, didn't she pass away like 2 months ago or something? And it was the lady.
White.
And no, it was the lady who played Ursula. That's where my confusion was.
Yes, yeah.
So the lady who played Ursula passed away like 2 months ago, and WuBro posted about it on Instagram. I was like, I'm pretty sure, and they're like, no, she died today. So you're wrong. I'm like, okay.
But yeah, what were you doing in the Carolinas? What you were performing with Angela Johnson?
Angela Johnson, yeah.
You went to a 49ers game. Good luck. Good for you that you saw your team.
Totally coincidental. So totally coincidental. So what happens is on my calendar, whenever I have a gig or whenever I'm flying from a gig, it's color coordinated, so everything is orange. So in my mind when I'm looking when they announced the schedule for the 49ers, I'm like, I want to go to a 49er game. Which games would I be home for? And I immediately blocked, like I took off the option of October 10 because I saw it in my calendar that it's orange, because I was flying back home. I'd never put two together that I would be flying out of Charlotte, and Charlotte is where the Panthers play, which is where the 49ers will be playing that day. And it wasn't until I get there the day before, we're literally getting to our hotel. I'm looking at the GPS, and I'm like, it says a minute away from our hotel. And as I look up from the GPS screen, I look up, and it's the fucking Panther Stadium. I'm like, oh, I wonder if the Panthers are in town this weekend. I'm like, just out of first, and then I Google it. And they're playing the 49ers.
And you're like, oh my God.
And then I had to do this whole thing where I had to, first of all, call the wife and like check to see if she's cool with it. And she absolutely was, which goes to show you how amazing my wife is.
For the money part or to stay longer?
All of it. Because I had to change I told her, like, this is what's happening. The 49ers are in town. And she asked me, are you going to go to the game? I go, well, it's multiple parts. First is asking you if you're cool with it, because that would mean that I would get home a day later.
All right.
And then that would mean I would have to spend money. And then she was like, well, if you don't mind spending the money, I don't mind if it's going to be just a day later. You're going to be, whatever.
And it's for a thing that you love.
Yeah. And so then I called American Airlines and I was like, can I reschedule it to the following day? And they're like, oh, yeah, we could do that you could just pay the price difference. And the price difference is literally was $38. And I'm like, okay, so that sounds good. We're doing that. And then I booked a hotel at last minute, and I'm pretty sure somebody had been murdered in my hotel recently. I'm pretty sure that
those are great.
Had the vibes.
Oh, absolutely. Oh yeah, it absolutely. I think I walked in there right as somebody was taking away the tape, the chalk outlines. I'm like, oh okay.
You had to tear crime scene tape down.
But it was only. I'm literally gonna be there. My flight left at 6 a.m. So I would have to leave the hotel room at 4 a.m. And I was like, I'm gonna just sleep there. And so why pay any? I'm like, so I paid the least amount possible, which was $60. And then I bought a ticket, and luckily the Panthers sucked really bad, and there were plenty of tickets because nobody was gonna go to that fucking game.
Okay, I want to know what it costs to go to a Carolina Panthers game, because
Carolina Panthers 50-yard line, row 7, $200.
What?
50-yard line, row 7.
That's like
$200. That's
wild.
Yeah.
Even I can tell that's really good.
To the point, so much so that I was like, what are the nosebleed section tickets? And it was $98. And again, my wife, being the amazing wife that she is, she was like, just do the 200. It's much better. And I was
like, fuck that. It's only $100 difference?
Yeah, that is absolutely worth the upgrade. You know what I mean? Like,
no, absolutely.
Like, whatever, it's not that big a deal, whatever. But the difference from being up, oh my God, I'm like computing it now. Like I'm computing it like for.
I mean, I posted a reel and like the pictures. Like people, I was sending pictures to my friends, and they were like, "Oh, that's cool that you got." They were like, "Wait, are you there? Like, are you there? Is the game started?" I'm like, "Oh, I took a bunch of pictures before the game started. Like, look at the fields right here." But I was sending them videos of like plays that were happening. And they're like, wait, are those your fucking seats? And I was like, yes. Yeah. They're like, what the fuck? Wow. How can you afford it? I'm like, it's $200.
It's not Miami.
Not only
It's
that,
still
not only
not,
that.
it's still not nothing. I mean, $200 is still.
But here's
like a
the
lot
beauty
for
of it. Here's the beauty of it. They're like, do you want to pay in 4 installments?
Like an afterpay situation.
You're gonna pay.
They let me
put that shit
pay
on
with.
layaway.
They let me pay with Afterpay. I was like, yes, I guess I will
All
pay in
right.
4 installments.
Alright, yeah.
Yeah, I went.
Sure.
Okay. Like it was the best thing. I was like, this is and then I met somebody at the show on Saturday. I see somebody with a 49er shirt and his wife had a 49er hat. And they don't know I'm part of the show. I'm like setting up merch. Again, I'm wearing a black t-shirt. They don't know anything. And I go, hey man, fucking Niners, every team has their dumb little like fucking call sign that they do, whatever.
Yeah.
Like the Niners the Dolphins is fins up and whatever.
Fins up.
And so
Actually, the
I
Dolphins is. What day is it? Who's the president?
So that I said, I look at the guy and I point to him and I go, bang, bang. And he goes, Niner gang, bang, bang, Niner gang. And he's like, and then he asked me, are you going to the game tomorrow? I go, bro, I didn't even
That's
know
adorable.
I didn't even know the game was happening.
You have a little
I'm trying to find out if I could go or whatever. So this is pre-show. I perform. He comes to buy a shirt. They come to buy a shirt after the show and they go, bro, you got to go to the game. And I go, I actually am going to the game because while the show was going on after I got off stage is when I made all the necessary travel requirements. And he goes, I'm actually going to the game tomorrow. And he goes, dude, whatever. And so his wife found me on Instagram and his wife was texting me like, we're at this section. Come and sit with us. I spent the entire day with people that I met at the show the night before and we became fucking friends. I was like, this is awesome. This is like, I had like, first of all, the Niners took over that fucking stadium. The Niner fans, it was embarrassing. I've never seen anything like that. I've never been part of anything where the visiting team easily 8 to fucking 2 people. The amount of people that were in that stadium were all 49er fans. I was like, what the fuck is this? And then one of the players even said, he goes, after we scored our first touchdown, I said, oh, we're home. We're playing at home. It's fucking crazy. But yeah, so I made friends with these people. They're very nice people. We went to dinner. It was fucking. I had a great.
See, it just reminds me of like if you bond with someone at a Comic-Con.
It did. It was totally that. I was like, oh my god, it was totally that. And I was like, oh, it's great. They're actually traveling to Atlanta. They're gonna be in Atlanta next Friday, which is when I'm gonna be in Atlanta. In 2 days from now, I'm gonna be in Atlanta performing with Angela, and they're gonna be there because the Niners play Atlanta on Sunday. I won't be there for that game. Because I'm only going to be in Atlanta for 1 day before we leave to Louisville and then another city and then Ohio. But my point is they're going to be in Atlanta. I go, bro, if you're going to be in Atlanta, pass by. I'll get you tickets or whatever. And then they were like, yeah, but like we're like actual cool people and cool. And it's fucking.
Fun.
This was like the best part of sports. It was to me. It was the best. This is like the best. I've never experienced anything like that. I've never gone. I've gone to sports in other cities, but it's never been my team. It's always been like, I'm in Chicago. I might as well go to a Cubs game. I'm not a Cubs fan, and I'm not, but whatever. I went.
Yeah, like when I go to a Mets game, like it's just close. It's a thing to do, and it's close by, and the tickets are $20. Like sure.
Or if you were to go to Marlins versus Mets in Miami, it's still a Mets game.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. Like I went to visit my dad because we were supposed to visit Chiquita's family, and then the hurricane came, so we had to change plans. They're all fine. And then we were like, we changed the tickets. We're like, we want to see if we can go to my dad's house. Yeah, we went to my dad's house. I went to Tennessee to visit my dad, and we watched the Dolphin game where Tua got, Tua throwing up gang signs, like
when he got
fully concussed.
When he hurt his back?
No, this was the one where he got fully concussed.
Yes.
The back injury, the nerves in his back went connected to his brain, and that's when it really went down. And then Teddy Bridgewater, blah 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 blah. Then we go and I'm watching.
No, wait, hold on. Well, you weren't at the game. You were.
No. I was watching with my dad. Because my dad and I are huge fans.
Right.
So we're like watching the Dolphin game, and we're all both like, ugh, like what a bad thing to watch.
Yeah.
And then we lose.
Well, son, I'm glad you're here for this.
Yeah, like we could bond over this. And then the next weekend, I was watching it. And that was when, like, the first play of the game, Teddy Bridgewater gets concussed. Yeah. And so, like, all of my sports things started off great. Dolphins doing fantastic, winning games, 3-0. And then all of a sudden, it's like, concussions for everyone. And then everyone's concussed. Yeah, it's just like my football, and then I was like watching you having a great day, and I was like, "Fuck you, Nery. Fuck this bullshit."
I didn't even.
Fuck all
You're
everyone
literally
is-
aside from my wife and my 49er friends,
Yeah.
fan friends, like which is like 3 of them. You and Jeff were the only ones. And I only said that one picture. I'm like, here's that one picture of what I'm experiencing. I tried to contain it, and I didn't do any Instagram stories because I wanted to put it all the next day. And I was like, I'm having like the best
Amazing.
time. Like,
I love that.
See,
I
this
had
is
that-
one of those images that it makes sense that you didn't share with me because I would
Yeah.
not have been able to give you a few points. I would have been like, "That's nice."
I've had
Right.
that kind of experience tailgating where you tailgate, and then you just like are friends with the people around you, especially for UM games. UM tailgates are wild, and you just kind of like
Yeah.
everybody's partying.
I'm trying to get tickets to the fucking 49er game, the last game of the season, which is in San Francisco.
Mm.
And I'm trying to get that. And I'm already looking at. I'm like, this is possible.
That's
Like,
that's
actually
hey, that'd be dope.
Not impossible.
Yeah. Well, enough football talk. Are we ready for Am I the Asshole? I think.
Am I the asshole? Am
Yeah.
I the asshole?
Yeah. I was gonna do the one that you sent me.
Sure.
Did you
I haven't
read
read
it?
any of it.
Okay.
I haven't read any
You
of
go-
it.
this is-
My wife reads the headlines to me and then sends it to me, and then
Got
I forward it.
Got it. Who needs more than a headline for
She
this?
screens it.
Because the headline is "Am I the asshole for using a spray bottle to train my nephew?" Nephew.
Maybe
My
your
nephew-
nephew's a fur baby.
it's like my nephew. That's not a euphemism. I feel like this is a literal nephew. My nephew is a rainbow baby. My sister had a lot of trouble conceiving, and he was kind of a miracle. She was 42 when she finally managed to give birth. She was on bed rest for the last 3 months of her pregnancy.
Wait, pause. Can we talk about what a rainbow
No.
baby is? Because a lot of people don't know what a rainbow baby is.
A rainbow baby
So
is
a rainbow baby.
Go ahead.
You're talking. No, a rainbow baby is the term we give to kids who are usually the ones that are born after you have a loss of like either pregnancy or stillborn child. So that is your miracle at the end of the rainbow.
Right.
Right. And so like that's what they call after.
Yeah.
Or I guess this seems like
I fully understood what that is. Sophia's
for the
actually a
people.
rainbow baby.
You learn something on
Technically.
WuBro. WuBro
Um,
teaches you shit.
Yeah, but I wanted to let the audience know because I think that we just went over that really quickly.
We
Like,
breezed past it, but
yeah.
sure, yeah. She was 42 when she finally managed to give birth. She was on bed rest for the last 3 months of her pregnancy. My nephew is now 6, and while I love him, he is a monster. Don't get me wrong, I love him, but what a piece of shit this kid is. This kid,
Yeah.
what an asshole.
He is a miracle from Satan.
Yes.
He is.
Miracles work both ways. Nobody talks
Yeah.
about the bad miracles, but it is a miracle, and or a curse. He throws tantrums when things don't go his way. He screams if he loses playing a game. He refuses to understand why he can't ride my 7-year-old Saint Bernard. That super specific, okay?
Well, it's a big dog.
Yeah, I would, but he refuses to understand.
But he's also
why.
6.
I mean, I
He's
get
also
it.
6.
Like I would be.
No, at 6, you should understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I
Yeah.
want to ride that fucking dog. And he thinks any.
I just picture a fucking 6-year-old looking at the Saint Bernard, and every time he sees him going, "I'm gonna fucking ride you. He's like, I'm gonna fucking ride you, motherfucker." Like it's gonna just fucking meet the fucker's eye contact. Like it's gonna happen. He and you. It's gonna happen.
Yep.
Yip, fucking. And he thinks any food is his. My husband is diabetic and he loves cookies. I found a bakery that makes amazing sugar-free cookies, but they are expensive. I budget for them because my husband deserves his treats when he gets home from work.
I could attest. Going
That's
13
nice.
months. Going 13 months without sugar. I could attest that sugar-free cookies are fucking pricey.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because they should be cheaper because they don't have fucking sugar. You're
No, but
using
they
less
have
ingredients.
science in there.
You're
They have more
using less-
chemistry.
Yeah,
They,
no,
they,
Can we go for the joke? We're going for the joke, right?
the
It's
chemistry
fucking
was
got
the
it.
joke. My sister was visiting, and my nephew was running around like a squirrel. He tripped and started crying, so my sister picked him up. He saw the cookie container on the counter and started asking for some. I said no, that they were special cookies for his uncle. I offered him a regular cookie or some fruit, But he got all upset. I mean, if you offered me fruit when I wanted a cookie, I'd be like,
Yeah, well, 6-year-old's not gonna give a shit
I don't
about
know.
fruit.
My mother-in-law loves doing that. She's like,
Yeah.
"You guys ready for dessert? Yeah. What do you got? We got blueberries and strawberries. Like, this is not motherfucking dessert. Like, I've gone through
Yeah.
this for fucking 15 years of my, and I love my
Yeah.
mother-in-law, but I used to like, it's come a thing now where it's come a running joke where she's like, "Would you like dessert?" I'm like, "Real dessert or like the things that you put on top of the dessert?"
Say
Like,
fruit.
what?
Yeah. Like
Is
at
you-
least like serve some like cream or something
Yeah.
with it. Like
Yeah.
on
No,
the
she
Um,
does that too, but that's not a dessert. That's the thing that you put on top of dessert.
Yeah, that's the dessert topping.
Yeah.
He
like it.
saw that. Okay, he started asking for some. I said no, that there were special cookies, but I offered him a regular cookie or some fruit, but he got all upset that he was being denied. My sister asked if he could please have a cookie. I relented and gave him one. He took a bite and said it was yucky and threw it on the ground. I was a little upset. I feel like that's burying the lead a bit. I feel like she was more than a little upset. A little while later, he came back and asked for another cookie. I said no. My sister said just to give him one. I told her no. He wasted the last one. He started screaming that he wanted a cookie. I stood my ground. He eventually went away. Next time he came, he didn't ask. He just went for the container. I grabbed the spray bottle I used to keep the cat off the counter. I gave him a couple of squirts and said no. He got startled and ran away.
It worked.
It totally nailed it. Non-violent. I love this. My sister said my son isn't an animal to be reprimanded with water. All humans
Bro,
are
I would
technically
laugh
animals.
if my brother did that. I would laugh. Like,
That'd be pretty funny.
I don't know.
The next time he
It's
came into the
water.
kitchen, I put my hand on the spray bottle. He didn't even look at the counter and he went away. It worked.
It worked.
Yeah. My sister called my parents to tell on me for treating her child like that. They are mad at me for not giving in to the poor baby.
Yeah.
Edit. There's an edit to before the color your decision. 2 points. Thank you everyone for pointing me in the right direction regarding my cat. Apparently there's a lot of comments about the cat. All that you called it assault and abuse have never played with a super soaker, and I feel bad for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apparently people are like, you assaulted the child.
Yeah, people who are calling it assault are stupid.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
You're getting real specific at that point, but like it's one of the things where like she found a way.
Yeah, the real asshole here. The real asshole is a kid's parents.
Yeah,
that's the real assholes. I'm sorry, my kid is my son just turned 8, and he's understood that these are. I've been on a diet for the last year. A diet, different way of eating. I've been in the situation for the last year and a half, 16 months, where they'll be like, no, those are Poppy's cookies. Those are Poppy's. That's Poppy's ice cream, because they understand. And my son at that time when I started was 6.5. He was about to turn 7. So it was the same thing when and he understood. No, this is Poppy's ice cream. This is Poppy's cookies. These are specific and they're fucking pricey.
Yeah,
I went through the same thing. So I'm speaking from experience at this point, where it's like they're not too young to understand no. But the problem is you have to be teaching them no from the beginning. So you're an asshole of a fucking parent. Yeah, and consistently, you're an asshole of a parent. Just give it to him and he'll be, just to make him go away. You're a fucking asshole, dude. You're a bad parent.
Well,
and, that's my.
Steph, you're the other parent here, not me. What do you think? Because you were going to say something.
Look, honestly, no, I agree that the mom of the kid is the asshole, because she's just appeasing him and she's not actually teaching him anything, and it's not helping her sister with this whole problem of like, no, but this is really like so-and-so's like cookies, like he can only have this. This is a thing for my life. This is my little world that you entered into, and these are the boundaries. And the sister's just ignoring shit because she doesn't want to deal with parenting her child.
What about the parents?
Because of the precious, precious baby.
What about the parents who were like, oh, you should have just given in to the poor baby?
Okay, they're grandparents.
That is 100% the mentality of that mindset of like, oh, this is the baby everyone wanted it so bad and tried so hard for it. Da, 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 da. A lot of times there's stigmas, like things come along with that sometimes, and just.
I love that
Yolanda.
Yolanda says our grandson Samuel would reach for the cookies just to get sprayed. It does sound like fun. It does. I mean, like if you're gonna start a water gun fight, what a way to do it. I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna reach through these
Yeah.
cookies.
Yeah.
I it's not like my brother and I didn't like play with our niece like that sometimes. Like, mind you, we did it in a playful manner with her. If she was ever doing something, we'd be like, like we would make it a fun thing and not an actual like
Right.
spray thing.
Here's my thinking as just what's written. Again, we're going by what's written. Just what's written. The rainbow baby inclusion at the beginning of this feels like the big disclaimer, like, hey, this is a spoiled ass kid, right? Like, this is the big problem is in the, like, this is my opening thesis. This is the problem, but I can't tell it to my sister that this is, you spoil your kid because of it, because it's so heartless to say that, oh, you went through all these problems and now you have a kid and now you don't, that kid's going to be fucked up because you're not acting like it, like a parent. You know what I mean? Like, you're not parenting.
Well, because she's putting her kid on she's putting her kid on some sort of pedestal and is not actually helping the kid like become a functioning human.
I will say this: there's plenty of like kids who are born not rainbow and are just shitheads. Like there's plenty of shithead kids out there, and the product of shithead parents. And there's some that are some people are just shitheads. Like they're just shitty people. Yeah. But like the inclusion, I get a feeling like I can't tell if this is a younger sister or an older sister, right? Because it doesn't really say.
It struck me as younger considering how she wrote about it. Like,
right, but also imagine if it's like an older sister, because she says my husband's diabetic, and I'm thinking like that might be like a type 2 thing, an older thing. Like maybe they're older and they're already like older people, they're like in their 40s and maybe like if this is if this is the writer's younger sister and they're all older than 42, at least now would be the sister would be 48.
47
with the math at 6.
Yeah.
So if this woman is like already like an older lady that is not in their 20s, you know what I mean? Like she's just like, I've had enough. Doesn't have patience. Yeah, fuck you. Like I don't give a fuck about your problem. Like this kid's still an asshole. Let's call an asshole an asshole. Like you're still.
Well, she did. She called him literally a monster. She literally called him a fucking monster. Like that's a direct quote. He's a monster. Like Jesus. That's the part that I thought was a bit too harsh. I mean, you're gonna call a kid a monster. I'm all for calling the
older. They have cats.
Cats.
That's true. That's true. I'm all for calling the parents of the kid bad parents and awful parents and blah blah. I have a little bit of a harder time calling a 6-year-old a monster.
A monster.
A monster. I'm not saying it's inaccurate. I'm just saying I have a little bit of a harder time. I'm not saying it's not possible because a kid could be a monster. But even if he is a monster, he's a monster because he's a monster because of Dr. Frankenstein, not because the fucking. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's the monster. Like it's the real monster is the fucking doctor who created him.
The memories made along the way.
The knowledge is knowing that Dr. Frankenstein was not the monster. Wisdom is knowing that Dr. Frankenstein was the monster.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
In the comments, we have not the asshole. Does the spray bottle work on your sister? Let's see. Not the asshole. I'm a behavior teacher and this is bad and we don't do this, but it's hilarious and I can't stop giggling about it. You live in the dream about spraying something with a water bottle.
I'm a behavior doctor and we don't do this. Maybe you fucking should.
Maybe this should
be again non-violent.
Maybe change it up.
Non-violent form. I think it was the great Dr. Cesar Milano who said.
What you do is you have to roll your kid onto their back. You have to floor them and put them onto their back in a submissive position.
That's right. Which, by the way, to the listener, and I can't.
Would still be hilarious.
Cesar Milano, by the way, is amongst recognized. Yeah, that guy, the dog trainer, the dog whisperer, among dog trainers, and he is hated on by everybody, by the majority of his profession. Yeah. Because his techniques are archaic and they set back.
They cause more problems than they in the long run. Yeah. Soft, not the asshole, but perhaps it's time to start setting boundaries with your sister. It sounds like she is enabling the poor behavior, and from my POV, it's more her fault than his. But still,
Preach.
I'm not giving that kid the fucking cookies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like still no, but also like
I mean, still not gonna get it.
still, yeah. Also,
Yeah.
way too thought.
Yeah.
This is Am I the Asshole? Everybody, if communication and setting boundaries was happening, they wouldn't be posting on Am I the Asshole.
I disagree. I think she did set a boundary with a fucking spray bottle, and
Yeah,
it
she
fucking
did,
worked.
yeah.
I think that was the greatest. I think that was
physical
a
barrier.
very physical barrier. This is a boundary, and she gave him. And she gave him verbal warning.
It worked.
She gave him verbal warning, saying like no.
Yeah.
And then she went and did it anyways, and she reinforced her boundaries with a spray bottle.
No. It was also the kindest way for her to teach her nephew the very important life lesson of fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, there's other ways to do it. Like this way, she was just like, I don't want to get wet.
Is that really?
Is there anything else that proves the fact that this kid is a monster if he fucking shuns at water? I mean, that's just a monster fucking behavior. It's like,
it turns out I also blessed it.
It's holy water. It's also like, wouldn't it be
by
weird?
The way, my sister is the Wicked Witch of the West. I forgot to mention that's also a thing that he doesn't like water. That's what my bad.
Would it be?
Am I the asshole that he now has welts and I can hear demons coming from him?
Would it be crazy if she sprayed the water bottle and all of a sudden like other little children started popping off of him?
Fucking gizmo.
That's right. He's part Mogwai. Shit.
Well, I did say monster. I didn't clarify which kind of monster.
He's very cute, but he's still a monster. Don't feed him after midnight.
This is why you shouldn't have the cookie.
It was after midnight. No cookie, no feeding him after midnight. That's what it was. My favorite comment, not the asshole, bad kitty, KIDDIE. Instead of KITTY. I thought that was great. All right. Winner. We're finished.
All right, guys.
Amen.
Well, thank you very much thank you guys for checking us out. I appreciate you guys checking us out. Make sure you guys check out the other podcasts on the WuBro Network that include, but are not limited to, the Pero Let Me Tell You podcast, which the most recent episode of the podcast is me. I'm on the podcast with DJ on Pero Let Me Tell You, so make sure you guys check that out. I wish I could tell you the episode number, but I did not pay attention to that part. It would be just too much work to fucking check it out now. But WuBro Network, go to geekbro.net, check out the other podcast. But let me tell you, Chow Like a Best with Mike Valdez, the Kickflix podcast with myself, Mike, and Jeff, and Cramocopia with Jeff as well in Q, but they're starting up their new season coming up soon. So we wanna thank you for that.
Is it gonna start in time for spooky season?
I don't know because I'm not part of that. That's one of the podcasts. That's one of the few podcasts on earth that I'm not a part of. Because I do a lot of podcasts.
Feeds and Instagram posts. Like you don't want to do a podcast. You just want to post. You just want to create Instagram feeds.
Right. Episode 224 is the Pero Let Me Tell You episode that I'm on.
I just put it in the comments.
224. Yeah, there you go. Oh, I looked it up. Episode 224 of Pero Let Me Tell You, and check out the other podcast. And we have another, again, a movie review podcast that's coming up, and hopefully they get back to me with my brother's logo so I could get that off the ground.
Subscribe if you're listening. You will get, if you're subscribed to this podcast.
Yeah, if you're subscribed, so if you
will get that podcast.
If you're listening to the audio version of this, or you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, the video that lives on forever, subscribe to the What's Up Bro podcast, and it will be on this feed. So there you go. Thank you guys.
We're gonna cross the streams. We're gonna unify the streams.
That's right. Thank you guys for checking us out. You could check out Stephanie, the real artist, her work on her website. Not
really, because the artist is taking a break, so the website is not up.
I know. Oh, really? That's weird because my website still has performing arts on it. And then
does it have performing arts?
Well, it has dick jokes. That's same. I think we're saying the same thing here. And then check out Mike at Mike Mercadal, and I am Nery Science. Oh, and Josh, to answer your question, Josh was asking me when's the next time I'm going to be on Royal Caribbean, and I will be on there throughout the year. DM me for specific dates if you're looking at specific dates. I don't like posting my complete calendar because, security and stuff. But I will be on there a couple times this for the remainder of this year, and I'm looking for my schedule to come out soon for 2023. So DM me if you're planning on cruising, and I'll let you know where I'll be. Love you guys. Thank you very much. And that's how winning is done.
Horn.